Hi everyone, today we're here with Coach Nick, head coach of the women's program at University of Florida. So thank you very much for having us today.
Thank you, yeah. Nick Zimmerman, University of Florida, head women's soccer coach. Excited to have you guys. We could start here. This is our athletic training room. This is a football facility. I'll always say football. They have their laundry loops. They literally just come in, their gear is here, open up, grab it, and then they'll come and they'll walk right into here.
Thank you.
So this is one of two training rooms. This one's us just specifically for prehab. Any the players that come in early, they want to do rehab here. We have another big one in the middle of campus that's significantly larger that has all the machines, but this is for when the players come. They can come in, they have the Kaiser, they can do treatment, they'll do taping. They have all their recovery weights here, which is nice. It's a bigger one, so we can fit multiple players in here for after training. But you'll have this where they're able to now walk straight into the locker room. They have a big space. They can hang out. We've got the clock like you have in pro stadiums, where this will be intertwined with the game clock. So that way we know on match day, hey, come out at 60 minutes, or coaches are gonna come in at 62:15, they're ready, and then they'll walk out this way. Our way, this is something that we came up with. This is part of our mentality. It's just something that has nothing to do with the football side of things, but just who we are as individuals, things that, we've created. Coach Garber brought this with him. Is something that he's done in the past, and we did it at Mississippi State. Really, really enjoy it. But it's just certain questions that allow for conversation. Ask yourself daily, would I follow me? So it's just really cool. Players are vulnerable. They relate to how it is prevalent to them and important, and how it influences them on a daily basis. And then we have our competition board here, where literally every day we do competitions. We compete, we track everything. We have managers, and it's something that we do it every single day, every single month. At the end of the season or the semester, we'll have someone that is the one that is the winner. They receive a trophy at the end. So, at the bottom, organizations are neither elite nor ordinary, it's individuals are, right? So it's about every single day, how do we continue to get better? How do we show progress? The players have really, really embraced this and really enjoy it. We'll have pre-game meals, post-game meals. It's something that is, a space for them to come hang out. You've got couches, TVs. During the semester, both fridges are stocked. You've got recovery. You've got your protein bars, you've got your snacks, the opportunity to make smoothies. So this is a place where they'll come in, they'll get fuel before and after training, make it a place where, we're just optimizing recovery, but making sure that they have everything that they need after they train. We want to basically get rid of these tables. We want to make it like this is like a lounge area where the players can kind of come and chill, have some gaming, FIFA, some of our kids play Fortnite. Here is our film room. So this is where we'll do, our mentality. This is where we'll do our film sessions. We'll stream whatever we need to stream via TV or laptop. So this is where we'll meet every day before training. And then if we have film or mentality after training, this is where they'll come in. But it's a nice space. University wants to invest in this, extremely supportive of the program, which is massive. They want this program to be what it used to be. And there was a rich history of success here. We're fortunate now. We've got we're big into data and analytics. So we have our director of applied performance and also our video analyst. So they're in this room. We have our conference room. So just a common space here where we'll meet, we'll go over, film. We've got our tactical boards, we'll go over the board right now. We've got the portal coming up, the transfer portal. So we're starting to put together, who we think are going to be in there, etc. We talk football a lot. You know, we love football. You know, the staff is comprised of all unique, different backgrounds, but all with a common purpose of you know, truly trying to change the game. You know, that on the women's side, where, you know, you have athleticism, you have total football, but you also, you know, you do it with such a joy and a passion and a smile on your face. And so that's ultimately what we're aiming for. You know, that's our mission, it's our vision for the game, and then, you know, to have transformational relationships with the players. You know, 2% of you know, women footballers go and play pro, right? So the 98%, are we putting them in an environment every day where they're learning, they're growing, they're finding out who they are? That's something that's really, really important to us.
In terms of timeline, when do you usually start looking for players?
Yeah, I mean, I right now, I mean, you know, you have your NCAA rules when you can't contact players, but I mean, you know, if you're a pro footballer and, you know, we've done our homework on you, you know, we'll begin to chart and follow, you know, recruits, whether they're here domestically, internationally. There's really no early time where we don't look at a player that we feel that can help us, right? Even if it's 2-3 years down the road, it's someone that we'll put in our database and go, hey, we want to continue to track them, make sure, you know, that, you know, we're doing our due diligence on them off the field, you know, getting in contact with their club coaches, you know, some of their teachers, you know, how are they in class, how are they treat their family, right? So there's a lot of components that go into it, you know, when we go through the recruiting process. And, you know, the footballing side is just a piece of it. Right? I mean, it's way more than that, right? It's how do you treat your brothers and sisters. You know, we want players that are brave. We want players that are courageous. We want players that aren't afraid to make mistakes. You know, you've got a huge amount of space, you get the Florida logo, you know, and then you walk right in and then it's kind of like, okay. This is the field that we'll play on. We share it with lacrosse, but in the fall is our championship segment, so they don't use it. So they just do this. But you know, you've got your stadium here. So this is just for us. See all the goals. We've got the speakers right here. Again, only us. Girls can come and play, train on it whenever they want. They hook up to the music. All of the gear and equipment is in right underneath in like a little shed area. So like really, really make it nice.
Also, on the academic side, because I know University of Florida is
very good,
quite selective.
Yeah.
What are the requirements?
Yeah, so I mean, you know, it's the #1 public school in the state, but it's also, you know, a top 10 academic institution. And, you know, it is very, very competitive, you know, to get, you know, entrance into this university. So, you know, there's certain requirements, you know, just depending on potentially major, did you take the necessary classes? You know, here we offer a wide variety of majors. We specialize, you know, in quite a few. Any in the nursing and the medical field, you have Shands Hospital, which is one of the top hospitals here in the country. But we have, you know, like I said, we have a wide array of, you know, majors. We've got an incredible resources in terms of like tutoring, academic support. You know, we have some international players coming in that may not speak the language. This may not be their first language. And so we have, you know, specialists that help in that regard. They can take, you know, English classes. They'll have translators that can kind of come around campus to help them, you know, early on, especially with the transition from coming, you know.
That's unique.
Yeah, it's very, very unique. And like I said, I mean, we do a really, really good job of making sure that the players understand the academic expectation, but also put them in an environment where we know that they're going to have the success necessary to achieve their degree. You know, the academic side is the most important side. I mean, you're a student athlete, right? And student comes first. The footballing side is a bonus. We take it very, very seriously, but we also on the academic side make sure that you have everything that you need to be successful, and also that you understand when you come here, when you leave, the degree that you have will carry an incredible amount of weight as you go into the real world. Well, I mean, I have like a presentation that we've done with internationals. So yeah, this is what we've shown when we went over to Spain. We showed this to Christina, right? Our vision statement to change the way the football is played, one, in collegiate athletics, and ultimately the national level, right? And then our mission statement, we talked about transformational relationships, which drive the professional and personal development of its members, and ultimately the competitive excellence of the organization, right? And so we kind of go through each of our philosophies in terms of our identity. This is our pyramid of excellence that we talk about, our core values, our way that was in the locker room, our identity, right? We want to be high press, ball dominant, fully functional, multidimensional. Total football, we'd be a team that would be the balance of adapting, harder and smart, dictate, and then ruthless in our actions, right? And so, you look at it and people say, oh, we possess the ball, right? Well, this is all of the Power Fours, and you see this was us at Mississippi State right here. The only team that was better was TCU, right? So that's Duke, Florida State's down here, Michigan State, Stanford, right? Like UNC, teams that we play, right? And so ultimately this is something that, is in correlation with our PPDA, which is presses per defensive action. So how quickly we can counter press, right? So like we look at, okay, not only do we have high possession, but we also won the ball back really, really quickly, right? Within under, 6 seconds. So that's something that's really, really important for us. This is just us, playing against the boys. We train against male practice players, and so basically it's just a rondo. It's a 6v3, against the boys. And if you can see the 4x6 goals, they have different mannequins behind it, a blue, a pink, and then a green. And so once we felt like they were in a rhythm, we would call out, blue, and then that would be the goal that they'd have to finish in, right? So the cognitive side of it, right? And then now we've added, 2 boys, right? Once we started to progress. So it's the bravery. We talk about being brave, talk about being courageous. And you can see the film. So we'll show this. Like this is our, our video analyst who's able to, show the film, like the triangles, being able to play. This is a goal from, a build, right? Really tight areas. And again, all versus the boys, right? Counter press. Can we now play?
Very good.
And then now again, you can see what we did was we color coordinated the positions, like our functional groups, like our 2 front was in blue, our players in the middle were in pink, so that way they start to develop those relationships with the players.
And they keep also good, comfortable.
Yeah, I mean, we have to have a good goalkeeper. Like you see, like right now, like that's our challenge right now is making sure that we empower the goalkeepers to really, truly want the ball.
I have someone to show you.
Yeah, like that's something that's so important for us. But again, where it started to then where, it finishes. And again, this is against the boys, right? And again, the boys here were significantly better than they were at my last previous institution. And it really provides us challenges, where now you're playing against 7, 8 boys on a full field.
The keeper plays really high.
Yeah, super high.
High line. Wow.
So it's high risk, high reward. But like, this is how we train, and this is, our footballing identity.
That's impressive. Like you mentioned, not many college teams does that.
No, and this is against a pro team against Tampa Bay Sun, our second game of preseason. Right, so they provided some challenges. They kind of pressed out of a 3-5-2, then at times like a box in midfield, so our players had to solve it. And again, literally just the patience of moving the ball. And again, this is against a pro team. Right, rhythm, tempo, how we want to move the ball. A little fun, back heel, and then off we go. And just too heavy. Right, but again, this is against a pro team. It starts all the way in zone 1. This was a goal we had against the boys.
Good.
Again, just the bravery and the courageousness from the goalkeepers.
And that comes from the coach stuff.
Yeah, I mean, we instill in him, like, you're going to make mistakes. We don't care about that. Like, are you doing the things that we're asking you to do? And are you being intentional and committed to it? So you can see our identity, right? Like of what we want to do, right? Our player development side of things. You know, we have 5 phases of individual development, you know, an absent player all the way up to matchmaker. I've coached maybe 4 or 5 matchmakers in my entire life. It's really, really hard, right? A matchmaker is like Messi, right? A matchmakers are those players that are truly elite in that regard, right? Then you have your 4 pillars of how you do it. And then these are our end of the season evaluations where they vote on themselves, or they evaluate themselves, we as a staff evaluate, and then we go and see if we're aligned. And then, you know, over here, this is where we feel like they are in their stages of development. And then also, are they trending up? Are they here, or are they unfortunately trending down? Right? And that leads to some honest conversations. And then this was just the spring. You know, you look at training sessions, technical sessions, speed, 116 hours, team lifts, you know, 21 film. We actually films significantly more than the games, our soccer presentations, etc. Right? So you have to be a student of the game. We use Stat Sports, which is what all the big clubs use. They're going to do a release on us next week, where they basically now they've come in and we're going to be the standard for all collegiate sports in terms of how to use Stat Sports. But just the wellness monitoring, how we monitor the legs, the injuries, the recovery. We use Whoop, weight room. It's massive. And then data driven, right? So we have our own performance team that we've built. This is kind of their hierarchy. Performance analytics versus the tactical. Field players, so you get a chance to see all the player loads, you know, daily, high speed running, weekly total, inter-squad comparisons, right? We do speed assessments, power assessments, see where they are, where they're trending. You know, the wellness, this is a periodization, so like this is what he'll put, like, hey, on a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, this is what we want it to look like. We just look at and see compared to whatever position they play compared to who we feel is elite in that position. And then we compare, so we're at max speed, what's their training load, you know, high speed running, just certain metrics that we feel can translate because we're not able to see them play live. So it's really hard to make decisions that are important decisions based off of just film. So, and then Gator Bomb is something that we basically have created. We've got a team of engineers that essentially have built a tagging and coding software system for the spring. Most of the teams only get information after the fall. No one does it in the spring. Well, we were able to create, or they were able to create, a system that allows us to use the metrics and the data, and it's incredible. So we're able to, you know, for example, passes versus possession, average possession, time of possessions, right? So we're able now to see and have this information that is pretty cool, right? And then tactical segments, you know, 15 minutes, 30 minutes, 45 minutes, you know, what did it look like? Performance segments, you look at all of the distances at the bottom by the functional group. This is where we counter-pressed. You look at our map, where we were successful, where we weren't. No one's doing this. No one is doing this. No one is doing this. And then mentality, expectation, just things that we've gone over. mentality topics. And then these are our meetings when we're in there. And then the data analysis, again, this is just, we showed this, because we haven't had a fall yet, where Mississippi State was. This is where we were versus all power force. Possession, okay, we look at it again, we're we're ahead of all those down there, all these teams that say they play, right? This is actual data, right? This is facts, Duels, right? We actually get in the least amount of duels, but our intensity is some of the highest, right? Which is what you want for international players. Right? Yeah. They're not built to just over and over again, but can we put ourselves in the right position to do that, And then this is this SEC, we led the SEC last year in possession and shots. So for a new group, pretty spectacular.
And that's a good team because you keep in possession but also shooting.
Yeah, and we're actually shooting, and Vanderbilt went to the Elite Eight, right? Yeah. And we were higher than them, right? So now how do we incorporate this with XG, right? How do we score goals? How do we create chances? Ball losses per 90. You look at it, plus ball possession. So again, metrics that really, really matter. Repress out of possession, and then just, where we were going as an organization. We're continuing to trend up. And then the staff, So we've got an elite staff. Coach John was at FIU, was the head coach, was there 4 seasons, won the league, won the championship, took a team that was historically one of the worst to the best, speaks Spanish, Portuguese, so he's our international liaison in terms of speaking the language. And then Coach Carey was a two-time Herman Mack Trophy winner. Coach David was with Coach John at FIU. And then, we've got current players in the national team pool, all national team players. And then just kind of the environment, the crowds, our facilities, and then kind of just us.
Incredible. Yeah, it's also great to see that because it fits perfectly with the international athletes that we...
That's it. I mean, we're going to be, if you're an international player and you want to develop and play at the highest level, then, we feel that there's no other place.
We would like to thank you again.
Absolutely. No, I appreciate you guys. It. Yeah, no worries. I appreciate you guys taking the time.
Hopefully, next year we keep in touch. We have some players
here. That sounds great.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Thank you
very much. Appreciate it. Yeah, thank you very much. Appreciate you guys. Thank you.